Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. And in this one, we're going to be taking a look at the Ogre Kingdom's refresh for Age of Sigmar. So yeah, very long waited adieu. There was some speculation that Ogre Kingdoms might get just phased out from Age of Sigmar and then pushed into the old world, which to be honest could happen with their older sculpts still. That could happen at some point. But yeah, we've got the whole new refresh for AOS, which is really cool. Bunch of new kits, and apparently more have been teased and are coming as well. So there's more stuff beyond this, we just haven't seen it yet. So the first up is we've got the whole new army set, which features all new models and a new battle tome, which is cool to see. So yeah, this includes the new Tyrant, new Gluttons, new Ironguts, and a more Beast Cavalry, and also includes a set of War Scroll cards and a special edition of the Battle Tome. So yeah, very cool to see. Not a huge amount of models, but I suppose this faction is a little bit more elite than most, I guess. So still like a decent place to start, if you were thinking about perhaps getting into this faction, like you find that these models are really appealing, then yeah, the army set is definitely the way to do it. So yeah, pretty good discounts. First up is we've got a Tyrant. This, honestly, I think the older Tyrant held up pretty well. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you could still use the older Tyrant in games and stuff, of course, and blend in very nicely. But yeah, this new Tyrant is still pretty cool, though. It has plenty of customizable options, including, different banners, different head options, it would seem, different, cloaks, weapons, that sort of thing. So, very fun model, I would say. Looks like a lot of fun to paint. Then we have some new Gluttons, which I don't think are going to be in a different unit size from what they were initially. But yeah, just a lot more detail on these guys, looking very cool. Honestly, I don't think the old Ogre Kingdom Gluttons looked that bad. Honestly, I think most of the Ogre Kingdom's range looks decent, but comparative to a lot of the more updated AOS models, I can really see why they wanted to update them and give them a fresh peel because the older Ogre Kingdoms models, I guess, were always designed for Warhammer Fantasy anyway, so they were always designed for that kind of rank and file square base push fit. Whereas with AOS, you can be a lot more dynamic with poses, which is why these guys look a lot different. So it's cool to see them. They look very mercenary raider type now, which is kind of cool. I'm hoping we see some pirate themed ones again. I think they would be pretty cool. But yeah, they're very almost oriental style, some of these, like the helmet designs and the little the hairdress things they've got going on. So maybe they've taken more inspiration from other cultures to use them. But yeah, seems pretty cool. Just reminds me a little bit of a Grand Cathay in a way sometimes. The kit is packed with cosmetic options, including clubs, iron fists, and swords, almost the length of a regular human. So yeah, big swords. As you build up your wall of meat, you can ensure that no two units look the same. So yeah, plenty of customization options, which is really cool. So yeah, should be some really fun designs. Looks like a Dark Souls enemy, to be honest, like some you'd encounter in the wilds. But yeah, it looks very fun. Honestly, a lot of fun to paint. Then we have some new Iron Guts. When an ogre has acquired respect, bulk, and a reputation for intestinal fortitude, their tyrant may grant them the right to call themselves an Iron Gut. I didn't know that was actually the lore of an Iron Gut. I just thought Iron Gut was just someone who was a bit of a bigger ogre, basically. But yeah, these are the elite warriors of the War Glut, acting as bodyguards and enforcers for the tribe's toughest leaders. So basically, your elite dudes, and evidenced by their fancier armor and also much bigger weapons. But yeah, honestly, like a lot of fun to paint. And what is this? Is this a samurai ogre? This looks like a Ronin ogre. I might have to get some of these just because I like ogres and I like samurai. This seems to be a bit of a combination. I didn't realize this was like a Grand Cathay update for Ogre Kingdoms, but kind of seems that way, right? Honestly, I'm also sad that there's no new Nobblers or any confirmation that Nobblers are sticking around because there's no Nobblers to sprinkle on these guys. But yeah, it'd be great to have a little Nobbler, with a mock halberd like that and maybe another helmet like that, be nice to have a little Nobbler trying to mimic him. But yeah, this is a very cool model. I do like this pose. Looks like a boss in Sekiro. I'm just going to say it does look like a boss in Sekiro, but yeah, it looks very cool. Next up is we have the Morbeast Cavalry. Now, unfortunately, these are supposedly replacing the Mournfang Cavalry, like the two-piece Mournfang, which it's a bit of a shame. I guess they're moving away from the wintry theme of Ogre Kingdoms and moving away from Sabretooth and stuff which yeah, honestly I think is a little bit sad. I kind of prefer the big woolly mammoth stuff, but apparently the bigger ones are still going to stick around. It's just the smaller cavalry's going to be sort of phased out, I think, to replace it. So that's kind of what they said on the live stream anyway. So yeah, it's interesting to see these guys. I mean, they still look very fun to paint, don't get me wrong. You could do a lot of fun paint jobs with these. So yeah, these can be in two different ones. So like some more elite heavy shock attack cavalry basically, or you can have them as like raiders with like ranged weapons like crossbows and vultures, and probably the vulture will get a sweeping attack. Honestly, these are like a really fun kit to build and paint because you get like the vulture as well. So you could probably do like a conversion, give the vulture to another character or something. You know, could be a lot of fun. Have a nobbler or a nurgling ride him, maybe. Don't know, could be cool. But yeah, we've also got a new character, Red the Maw, a high slaughtermaster, which is like a massive centerpiece diorama. This reminds me of the older Chaos War Shrine, if anyone remembers that. Like the one that was pulled by, I think, well, it wasn't pulled, was it? It was like three Ogre style creatures and they had like a massive shrine on their back, and I think you could put a cauldron in it as well. Yeah, like a really cool model. It is, yeah, like I would say compared to some of the other centerpiece models, it's a little bit awkward in the sense that it's like it's just one guy carrying a big thing, and then there's like two guys flanking them, and there's really nothing else going on the base. Like compared to, I guess, something like Kratos, but like this isn't Kratos, whatever his name is. But like this isn't supposed to be that kind of model, I guess. It is supposed to be like bare bones wastelands kind of type thing. So I guess that kind of makes sense, but I just thought it was worth mentioning as something I noticed. But still a very cool looking model. Again, probably a lot of conversion potential for this. I also really like painting cauldrons. Personally, I just like painting them. I think they're really fun. Paint all like little purple and red soup in them, so could be a lot of fun. And you get like two executioner guys on the sides, which have very cool chest plates. So yeah, it looks like a very fun kit to build and paint. Probably cost an arm and a leg though. I've not really been given a price estimate for any of these, but yeah, I think these will hover around the 35 quid mark in the UK, I would say. This guy, hard to tell, but like he could be anything from 60 all the way up to 80, I think, easily. Like the price range is kind of getting out of control, to be honest. But yeah, he could be a very expensive kit, but he is very cool. Not something I'd put together anytime soon, but yeah, very cool. Next up is we have a very grotesque character, very, very grotesque. This is the new updated Butcher model. Again, I don't think there's much wrong with the old Butcher model. I think it's got a lot of charm to it, but the new one's kind of cool. So if you don't know what the Butcher does in Ogre Kingdoms, it actually channels the magic of the Great Maw, which they kind of like worship in a way. So it's really cool. It's like it's a chef, but it's also a wizard. So that's cool, right? Also, it's got a cauldron. I love cauldrons, and it's got a huge meat cleaver, which is cool. So very horror movie esque. You know, this guy could be a horror movie villain, honestly. But yeah, he's very cool. Could be a very fun October Halloween project potentially. But yeah, honestly, just a very cool model. Then we see some new cleavers. So this is an alternative build kit. So you can build this as cleavers, or I think it's what are these guys called? I can ultimately build as gut seers, which are like these creepy hooded guys. So yeah, we'll take a look at the cleavers first. So these are like your butchers in training, I think they describe them as. So yeah, very cool. I like this one the most just because he's holding a cauldron like that. And you see his gruesome tools. Honestly, very Nurgle-esque in a way. This is the kind of model I was hoping to see for the Plague Knight stuff, like the new updated Nurgle range. Just like big, like slimy, kind of gross looking, you know, big Nurgle dudes. I think that would be really cool to see. But yeah, these are still very cool though. I'm glad that Ogre's got these. And like maybe you could do some kind of conversion with Nurgle anyway and run these as trolls or something if you can beef them up or something. But yeah, look very cool though. Honestly, it could be a lot of fun to paint as well. I do like painting cauldron and flesh, so that's nice to see. And the alternative build is these guys, which are very sinister and creepy. These are the Gutseers, warriors who march into battle belching aether disrupting chants. So I guess like counter spells. And they're conduits of gut magic, capable of supporting the wizards in your army thanks to their faith in grisly acts of divination. So, okay, so they can buff to your own butchers. So like this will just be a great unit to have if you want to run like the butcher and stuff. So yeah, very cool. So yeah, probably try and paint some of these at some point. Again, I think this will be, if I had to take a guess, probably about 40 quid UK. I really don't want it to be, but I can just see them slapping 40 quid on this and calling it a day, which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? But yeah, new battle tomes always cool to see, and I think that's about it for it's about it for the refresh. They did tease like a much bigger model, so I'd imagine we're going to see like a huge character that's mounted as well at some point. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, some personal favorites, honestly. I think most of these reveals are really cool. Like these guys, very sinister. These ones are cool. They're kind of like just mini butchers, really. So yeah, if you really like this model, then you'll probably like these guys. This guy, I think, is decent. He's very. It's what you see is what you get kind of model. I think there's nothing too crazy going on here. Like I don't think it's quite popping out to me as much as like Festus the Leech Lord did. But he's still really cool though. Like he still looks cool. These guys are very fun models. And then yeah, I already expressed my interest in acquiring some Iron Guts at some point. But yeah, I'll have to try and collect some Iron Guts from the older Ogre Kingdoms range as well before we stop selling them. But yeah, just some very fun reveals overall. But yeah, it's been Emma Power. Let me know what you think about Ogre Kingdoms down below. Do you think you'll be joining the faction? And yeah, thank you for watching.